We have a very interesting report here and news kind of update to take a look at here today involving the Ryan Lindgren contract situation with him slated to have his arbitration hearing on August 2nd. There is a chance that a deal could get done before that hearing, but also be on a very short-term deal for the top pairing defenseman. So now let's get right into it here, starting off with Ryan Lindgren and the contract update involving him. We have an article here from Sports Illustrated talking about Lindgren, and they say, according to Arthur Staple of The Athletic, there have been regular talks between the Rangers and Lindgren, while a new deal is sure to be signed before his August 2nd arbitration hearing, which is nice to hear. The only question remains is what kind of contract he will get. They also say Staple believes a short-term deal might be the ultimate outcome. Quote, Lindgren's arbitration hearing is slated for August 2nd. Staple writes, so that's probably the deadline by which you'll see an agreement on what will most likely be a one-year deal in the vicinity of Lindgren's $3.6 million qualifying offer. And that is quite interesting there. I figured it would be a more of a short-term deal. You're looking at maybe like a 3-year deal. But instead, it could possibly be a 1-year deal, which makes things very interesting for the Rangers and Ryan Lindgren. That means next offseason, we'd have to see another kind of contract negotiation start between the Rangers and Lindgren's camp there. So things could get a little difficult there with the fact that at the end of this upcoming season in 2024-2025, which would be the end of his contract if he does sign a 1-year deal, next offseason, he would become an unrestricted free agent, meaning he could sign possibly with any team in the entire NHL in free agency, which would make things a lot more difficult to try and negotiate a longer-term deal. So that's very interesting there. The Rangers possibly are looking to go for a very short-term deal. We know Lindgren was reported that he possibly kind of wanted a bit of a longer-term deal there, which I wouldn't have been completely against depending on the cap hit. But this makes things very interesting with the fact that if he does sign a 1-year deal next offseason, he will expire as an unrestricted free agent, which makes things, like I said, a little more difficult to kind of negotiate because he could just say, well, okay, I'll wait till free agency and I'll talk to, the 31 other teams possibly, whatever, who's ever interested, and he can obviously try and get a much better deal with one of them, which I'm sure there's a team out there with a lot more cap space available than the Rangers there and have possibly a bit of a need on the back end there to kind of boost their core there. So maybe they look to offer him a longer-term deal, at over $4 million potentially, and really kind of lock him up long-term on a nice contract for them. And the Rangers obviously are just going to lose a very talented top 4 caliber defenseman who's been playing alongside our Norris Trophy winner in Adam Fox. So that makes things very interesting there. If he does end up signing a 1-year contract, we'll have to wait and see whether they do get a deal done before that, August 2nd arbitration hearing. So we'll have to wait and see what happens there. But it'll be very interesting to see kind of what happens going forward with this Ryan Lindgren kind of contract negotiation there, because a 1-year deal makes things very interesting for next offseason. And it does kind of make sense, though, on why the Rangers might want to go for more of a 1-year deal with a guy like Ryan Lindgren, although they'd have a somewhat likely possible scenario of losing him next offseason for absolutely nothing in free agency. Maybe they think they can go up there and acquire a different defenseman in free agency or possibly via trade next offseason or at the deadline potentially, who can kind of, fill somewhat of what Ryan Lindgren brings to this team there for a bit cheaper cap-wise, because next offseason we are going to have new contracts more than likely kicking in for Alexis Lafreniere, who's going to be making quite a bit more than what he is right now, especially with some other contracts that have come out there, the Byfield deal and stuff like that. There's going to be probably a massive payday for Alexis Lafreniere starting next offseason and going forward in the future, as well as for a guy like Igor Shesterkin, who's also going to get a much bigger payday than what he's on currently. So those are two pretty massive contracts that are going to hit the books next offseason, starting for 2025, 2026. So not signing a guy like Lindgren there kind of opens a bit more cap space long-term to help keep these kind of star players on this Rangers team, which is definitely a big need for this squad. And I do like what Ryan Lindgren brings to this team. He always has 100% effort out there on the ice. He's a very tough player, brings some grit, physicality, good shot blocking ability, good defensive play. A true top 4 caliber defenseman, can help kill penalties and has the odd, really nice offensive moment. But in general, though, the Rangers must be thinking that they could possibly get a guy to kind of fill that spot of Lindgren there, or at least, kind of fill a left-handed defense spot and kind of bring what Lindgren somewhat does there for a much cheaper deal than kind of what he could obviously get, making pretty much just under $3 million per season on a long-term contract. They'd rather go for the 1-year deal, apparently, which, like I said, makes a bit of sense there with the big contracts coming up, but he definitely would be a massive miss for this team unless they can truly find a good replacement for him, potentially next offseason if it does come to that. But if you have enjoyed this video, I would really appreciate it if you do hit that like button. It shows a lot of support on this channel. I would really appreciate it. If you are a New York Rangers fan, don't forget to subscribe for daily New York Rangers content. I post every single day a video about the Rangers on this channel. So if you're a Rangers fan, this is the exact place to be. And also, don't forget to comment down below your thoughts on this kind of contract update between the Rangers and Lindgren, possibly looking to get a one-year deal done with him becoming a UFA potentially next offseason. Thanks for watching. I'll catch you in the next one. See ya.